Hi, Sarah from the Centre for Mental Health. I hope all is well this week. The theme this week is going to be about bullying. This is Anti-Bullying Week, and there has been various campaigns you might have seen over social media, references to bullying and what people might be able to do to kind of challenge the status quo. It's a really difficult thing to talk about, and I certainly know from personal experience how painful bullying can be, how long-lasting the effects can be throughout your life. I know that certainly as a parent, it's probably one of the biggest things that I worry about when I send my children to school. What do we know about bullying? We know that about 1 in 3, 4 children talk about being bullied at some point at school. Most of the bullying happens at kind of middle school, and 19% between year 9 and 12 talk about bullying in all sorts of forms. And bullying is a complicated kind of way of taking power over another person. And sometimes the bullies themselves are often in a very a vulnerable position, and often bully because of all sorts of reasons. Either way you look at it, bullying affects people forever. And I know that trauma certainly creates a scar on the way in which we look on the world. We can be hypervigilant, sensitive, and it can damage our ability to form relationships. Bullying comes in all sorts of forms. It can be verbal, physical. We of course know that that cyberbullying is becoming a problem on, again, all sorts of different levels in different places. And whilst bullying can happen during school hours, and often does, what we know is that the internet has allowed access to children 24/7. And this is, of course, a major concern. I think it's difficult for parents to know what to do, but I think children are being taught about bullying in schools, which is incredibly helpful. But is it making a difference? And I think we all need to ask ourselves whether what we're saying to our children about bullying is making an impact. Do we teach our children what it means to bully others, what it means to be bullied? Do we have those conversations at home? I think we do, but I also think it's really hard for children to talk to parents and teachers about being bullied at school. There's a huge amount of shame involved in making a disclosure of that kind. I think that it's really important that we talk about resilient children, that we talk about making sure that they're able to manage conflict and can hold self-esteem so that they don't feel vulnerable to other people's kind of needs and demands. That's often easier said than done. If they come from a vulnerable home, or if they're suffering in any other way with a physical disability or a mental health challenge, all of these things makes bullying much more harmful. Bullying is a trauma, and I know that it scars people for life. Bullies also don't come out well. Certainly we know that people who bully are often vulnerable too. It's a complicated set of factors. So all I can say is find out some information that you might be able to use in the various places that you find yourself in: schools, workplaces, in your friends groups. Try and challenge negative behaviour within groups. It's always interesting to do that and to help people think about their behaviour and the impact it has on others. I always try and do that, and sometimes it can be uncomfortable. But I always think it's important that we as individuals make sure that we take responsibility for behaviour that we see, but also for ourselves. It's really easy to get things wrong. So I think people need access to the information, and we've talked a bit about that. So do go and find out about how you might be able to have conversations about bullying, wherever you might be. I'll see you next time.